If you've ever thought that you have champagne taste on a beer budget, then today's video is just for you, because there are so many beautiful homes out there that can inspire us to create a bedroom that is the ultimate retreat. It's the ultimate luxury. It's where we go to sleep and have the sweetest of dreams, and we wake up feeling inspired and pampered. There's so much inspiration out there, beautiful homes, mansions, the ultimate. There's luxury hotels that just seem to get better and better every single year. Unbelievable places that are so expensive and so dreamy, but so out of reach, or so you might think. I know it sounds outrageous, what a claim, but I've done this myself, I've done it over and over, and I've got the tips and tricks to share with you. I hope you'll leave this video feeling inspired and empowered to never let your budget dictate your style. Be who you are, create the spaces that you love, and find these little ways, these little hacks that we use to get around things when you're working on a budget, but you can still create the space that you really, truly dream of. When you think of your ultimate bedroom, the style that if there was no limit put on you whatsoever, what would be your dream bedroom? Well, for me, that would be a modern, luxurious bedroom. I go back to it over and over, and I think every time I look at these rooms, oh, they're so expensive. Why can't I just like cheaper things? My life would be so much easier if I would just like less expensive things, if I just wanted something that just didn't have that price tag on it. But then in that moment when I'm feeling mildly discouraged, I realize, you know what? I can actually take a lot of what's going on in that room and I can replicate that even in my own home. I don't have to let my budget deter me from creating the ultimate dream style. So one of the things that I always notice, whether it's a home, whether it's a luxury hotel, I always notice that the rooms just are always, the architecture of the room just really does a lot for the space. So there's a couple ways to go about it. If you like a little bit more of a classic luxury kind of feel, you can add some trim work into your room. Maybe you already have some. If you've lucked out and you've already got some, then you're just an extra step ahead. But if you like to have paneling on the walls and add a little bit of that trim work, it is a beautiful look and it just adds a feeling of classic luxury. But you can also go for a little bit more clean line look as well. That's another way of playing this. You can lean more classic, you can lean a little bit more modern, but either way, the architecture of the space does, it just somehow, it's like that backdrop that everything sits on, and it really matters. So if you don't have some of these rooms, the architectural features that they come with, you're just like, oh, how am I gonna replicate that on a budget? They've got beautiful big windows, they've got French doors leading out into this gorgeous patio, right? Like there's just something, they just have these extra details. You don't, if you have the budget, sometimes you have the budget to replace the windows and the doors. That's something that's on my own list that I'm starting to finally get excited about. I'm like, you know what? I think it's fine to paint the windows that I've got. I've been leaving it like that a long time, but I could also replace the windows and create a little more sophistication, a little bit more of that updated look. I think there are easier ways to be able to do this. I think switching out the doors sometimes can also add a feeling of architectural interest to a space. I also think that the cheapest way to really let the architecture of your room stand out is to actually not overfill the space. One of the things, if you noticed in these homes, is that they don't, because the rooms are so big, right? They can get a little bit more into them because the rooms are so big, but either way, they still leave room to walk around the room. Things aren't crammed in. not necessarily a maximalist dream. It's a little bit more pared back, and there's a feeling of space in the room, and that lets whatever architecture you do have really just kind of shine. I think another really fun little hack that is so simple and so budget friendly is to use mirrors. Mirrors can very easily give you just this feeling of architecture when you don't have any. You could just have a basic box in a room and add mirrors to the space, and all of a sudden it feels like something amazing is going on. I think you can also use art as a way of creating architectural interest in the space when you don't have any. Going for either a wall of prints, right? You can do something like that. You could go for a really oversized canvas. If you've watched my channel very long, you know I love to even buy inexpensive art on places like Amazon and double, triple, quadruple, whatever septuple, with 6 times, 8 times, whatever those words are. You know what I'm saying. You can do this on a budget. It really is possible, and these little things will make a huge difference in the rooms that you already have. I am so excited to take just a moment and thank our video sponsor for today, which is Marlowe. They've just sent me another set of their king pillows. I am so excited because I put these into all of my clients' homes now. I have found that their pillows are absolutely unbelievable. I love the fact that they are infused with the cooling memory foam. And so I really love to give them a pillow that I know they're going to absolutely love. Now, how do I do that? Because everybody sleeps different. Now, how am I gonna do that? Well, let me show you. The best thing about these pillows, which is why I always put these into my clients' homes. I don't know how everyone's going to sleep. You've got back sleepers, you've got side sleepers, you've got people who do somersaults in their sleep. How on earth, as a designer, am I supposed to know what kind of pillow to put into these people's homes? They are adjustable. They have this little zipper. I mean, this is so cool. You get to decide how thick or thin or how firm, right, the pillow will be based on how much you unzip. So you could just unzip one side, or if you're like me and you really like a nice squishy pillow, you can also open up the other side. Look at the little ventilation on it. It's amazing. They're breathable, they're comfy, they're cozy. They feel like down, but again, that's another thing I have to be worried about. Some of my clients have allergies, and I know that this is gonna always be a win. And we just absolutely love these pillows. And so I know you guys are gonna love them too. You might wanna grab a set of these pillows for your bed, and now is the perfect time to do that because Marlowe is having their big birthday sale. Right now, you can get up to 30% off plus an additional 20% off site-wide. Buy 2 to 3 pillows, you'll get 20% off, and when you buy 3 or 4, you'll get 30% off. Those are huge savings on a pillow that's already really affordable. I mean, look at that. I'm just like, oh, it's so comfy, cozy. It's a huge savings. It'll really help you out, and it'll really help not only your bedroom look more luxurious, but also feel more luxurious. So I will leave all the details down below in the show notes for you. So thank you again to Marlowe for being our video sponsor today. Let's talk about the bed. Because let's be honest, when it comes to a room, usually the focal point of the room is the bed. If you lucked out, oh, my dream is to have a fireplace in my bedroom. I would love to have that. Again, that goes back to architecture, things that you can add. But when you're working on a budget, and those are things that aren't in the budget, how do you add this luxury feeling? I think focusing on the bed is gonna be the thing that really gives you the most bang for your buck. Now, in this modern luxury style, I've noticed myself being attracted to a few different things. I absolutely love upholstered walls. I'm obsessed with them. I've been pinning them like crazy on my Pinterest. I just find myself drawn to those. I've never had anything like that. And when I've gone to look at stuff like that, like online, or when I'm trying to create it for a client, I'm like, yeah, that's not cheap to be able to create those. But it doesn't have to be expensive either. You could take some inexpensive sheets of thin plywood, add some fiber fill on top of it, and then just go ahead and add material around it and just literally staple it down, like, you know what I'm talking about, like upholstery staples into it, and then just hang those panels on the wall. Is it amazing if you have the budget to be able to buy one of those really nice upholstered beds that's bigger, yes. If it's in the budget, I say go for it, right? But you can also custom make your own. You could also go for a bolder upholstered bed that is a little bit more classic. If you don't want to lean towards the modern, you could definitely go to that classic side. Places like Our House have beds like that, but so does Amazon. If you like that look, going with something that's a little bit more grand, that really kind of sets the stage, is another really fun way to play this. You could also go for a bed that's a little bit more sculptural. I love them in boucle. That's what I have in my own bedroom. I love that sort of sculptural, like just that little bend, a little curve on it. It's just so delicious. But you could also, I've been eyeing. Our House is, it says coming soon. They have this bed that I've been looking at and I'm like, oh my gosh, that bed makes me want to redo everything in my room. It has just the nice little wood detail on it, and it's got the little nightstands attached to it, and I'm like, I get goosebumps even now just thinking about it. I'm like, it needs to come sooner, okay? Our House, like, I think that there are ways to create that really modern luxury look by going to places like Our House, shopping at places like Wayfair and Amazon. They have it. They have stuff, right? CB2 a lot of times has really good stuff. It's not the cheapest thing when you go to CB2 and Our House, but if you really need to save money, Amazon always has something. So I think that those are great ways to really add that boldness to your room and really give you that great focal point. So I would definitely start with the bed. The next thing to me that's the next most important thing when it comes to the space is the rug. I really love, I have a jute rug in mine right now, and I've loved that all summer long, but it's not giving me the modern luxury vibes that I've really been wanting. So I've been shopping around and looking at some options on Amazon to see what's available for a really low budget that would give me the silkiness of the rug that I really just crave. I put one like that in this room, and I just love the way it feels. It just feels so luxurious. I didn't know whether I would like something like that when I first bought it because I'd never owned anything like that. And I'm like, well, I may not like it. So I'm like, you know what? There's a return policy. Let me just try it. And I have ended up loving these types of rugs. I have found beautiful ones for the kids' bedrooms that have that abstract look. I love those as well. You can find them on Amazon for a lot less. You can always spend a little bit more and go to somewhere like Our House, go to somewhere, even West Elm has come out with this luxury look on their rugs. I'm telling you, everybody's coming out with them. I think maybe they watch our videos, but you know, either way, we all just want it. It's just so, it feels so good underneath your feet, and it just looks luxe, and it really dictates the way that the room feels. And so I just think the rug is super important. Now, can you go with something with a pattern? I do tend to go with more neutrals, but you can go with a pattern. You can go with something with flecks of, you know, pattern in it. You could go with something with a bigger swirl. You could go with something that has just an even bolder pattern. But you don't, yeah, I think it just looks really good. And I do think that you could go with an oriental rug that really has that luxe feel to it and maybe a little less distressing on it, right? This style really isn't too rustic. It really is just pretty polished and pristine. And I think that's why it feels so unattainable, but it is absolutely attainable. All these things that we're talking about are available on places like Amazon. So that's what I love, is when we can take something that just feels so out of reach and we can have it, and we can have it now. I love that. Let's talk about furnishings, because I think that we're kind of building this room. Can you tell how my mind works? Okay, so we're getting to the furnishings. We're starting to think through. Maybe you bought one of the beds with the nightstands attached and you've got it all in one, but maybe you're thinking about dressers, you're thinking about nightstands. Also, your chairs will come into this as well, or benches that go into the room. There's a lot to consider when you're putting this together. So I have found that in this modern luxury style, after a great many hours spent really just researching it and really looking at what really catches my eye and what just seems to really help these spaces feel ultimately pulled together, I think that materials that are just a little glossier can help you out a lot. Now, I really still like a little bit more of a rustic wood as well. I wouldn't say that I like distressed wood, but I do think you can go, like I have some restoration hardware pieces in my home that I still feel, even though they're a little bit more rustic, they still work in this style. So you could go that route, but you could also go for something with a little bit more gloss to it, a little bit more higher sheen. I've noticed that Restoration Hardware had come out with that burled wood collection that I was like, ugh, I want to sell everything in my house and start over. I think that that glossy look is starting to make a comeback because we're just ready to just have our dream home. Why not have that now? Why do we have to wait? Why do we have to dream our whole lives and never have it? Why not have it now? I love it. I love it. We can do it, guys. We don't have to wait. Have it now. So yes, Restoration Hardware is not the cheapest place to go. If you have an outlet, whew, that has helped me out tremendously. But you can also find pieces that have a similar feel to that for half the price at somewhere like our house. CB2 has started to get a lot more in like that. Crate and Barrel and Pottery Barn seem to be pretty rustic still. I think they'll catch up very, very soon. But you can, again, go to places like Amazon for pieces like these. I think also going for something that's got like a mirrored, I love smoked mirror. I love bronzed mirror. I love that look. I think it's just so beautiful and adds this sort of glisten into a room. You could also go for a modern higher gloss. Oh, I just said it. I think it's been at least 5 years since I've suggested a high gloss finish on furniture, at least. And I'm pretty sure there's a video floating out there where I said that people aren't leaning towards it, but I think they're finally leaning back to it. Having a little bit of brass with their nightstands, adding in that little bit higher gloss. You can go for even pieces at IKEA. They sell stuff like this. I think the creamy kind of taupe colors are really beautiful. I know we haven't talked about the color palette, but I think the images kind of stand on their own. You can see that this runs from warm neutrals to a little bit more high drama. You can create this look in any of those color palettes. So it's up to you how you want to play this out. But I do think that this stuff is available. You'll have to look a little bit harder because so many people have been going towards the rustic kind of farmhouse look lately, but I think it's time for the new kid in town to say, I just want something that just makes me feel pampered every day, and I just feel like I'm living in a fantasy. Why can't we have that? Well, it's just us holding ourselves back. Of course we can have it. Of course we can make it. Let's do it together, right? Let's do this. Next up we have textiles, and I do think textiles are really important to this look. I think that beautiful, silky, soft, velvety materials will always win in this look. It can at times feel a little bit unapproachable, which is why I think that the style sometimes gets a little bit of pushback from people who like something that feels a little bit more comfortable. You can mix in cottons. Even right now, I have a quilt, a cotton quilt on my bed mixed with a wool blanket, and then the bedding that I got from H&M Home. This is so affordable. It's got this beautiful sateen finish on it. The minute that came, I was like, done. I love this bedding. It's so luxe. It feels so good. It's like, you're sleeping in like a silk, and the sheets, all of that stuff is so easily available. I love to shop at places like Brooklinen. I love also to shop at places like H&M Home when I'm trying to do this on a budget, but you need to go for the luxe finish on all of those things to really, it'll still be approachable because it's still made with cotton, but it'll just give you that little luxe, like just that little extra something. You may want to, if you don't have the budget for silk, right? If you don't want to put a silk coverlet at the end of the bed, you could go for something that has a silky feel to it. I do think that cashmere and wool and alpaca are also really beautiful materials to add over. You could choose a blanket, you could choose a quilt, you could add a throw to the chair. Fur is another material I also like to add in, and velvet. All of these, let's just have all of them, okay? You're just gonna feel like you won the lottery. You're gonna literally feel like you won the lottery. And this is a room in your home. I mean, why wait for the lottery ticket? I mean, I don't even play the lottery, so the chances of me ever getting over that is none, because I don't play. But I do think that we can play to win in our life, and we can create this feeling for ourselves. And I just think that's amazing. So finally is lighting. I think that lighting really brings this style across that line. And I really have noticed that I myself am drawn to like, literally, I don't know if you guys ever had one of these. When I was a kid, we had one of those bug zappers, and we had this big picture window that faced out onto acres of a wooded lot. And so this thing was like blue light, and there's like nothing, no other light around. And so the bugs would just come to it, and you hear that zzz. That's me. To LED lighting. I have fallen in love with it. I pushed back so hard on LED lighting. I was like, no, it's not me. I don't like it. Then I put it into my closet, and OMG, it feels so good in my closet. I just walk in there and I'm just like, I feel like I'm in a luxury boutique. I love it. I love the LED lighting. In the closet, I've done a little bit of a combination. You can do that in your room as well. I just put up sconces, the little picture lights. I did those in LEDs in the bedroom, and I love them because you can add a dimmer to them. You can have a lot of fun. You can do tall lamps. You could do LED lighting that you add into the ceiling, or you add behind pictures. You can add it to your shelving. You can add it behind the bed. There's a lot of different ways that you can bring LED lighting into it, but ultimately, don't forget, you can also do like up lights as well. I always show those on my Amazon lives. Like, here's how to add this little light. It's so convenient to just sit on the floor and have it up lighting your trees or the corners. It just works. But I do think that either way, having things on dimmers and being able to create this sort of ambiance in the room is just, this is so doable. We can totally do this on a budget. And yeah, I love it. These are just the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've been thinking about the tweaks that I'm making in my own room and how, yes, this style seems utterly unapproachable as far as budget and so unattainable, and yet here we are going, if you dissect what is in that room, you can start to bring these feelings into your own spaces, and I think that is very encouraging. So I hope I've left you feeling super pumped and excited to start dreaming of what your ultimate room is, and don't think about the budget. Think about what your dream space is and then work your way backwards from that. If I've left you feeling super inspired, you can check out my Pinterest. I'll leave everything linked down below for you. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because we're definitely gonna be chatting about this more. Maybe if you're interested in this style, let me know, and we can talk about more rooms, more specific ways of doing this. Let me know if you like it, and then we can just have like a giddy conversation. I just love it. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day full of love and lots of pampering, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.